Life isn't about waiting for the big moments. It's about what you do in the little moments, the quiet decisions, the small habits that shape your future. You don't have to climb the whole mountain today. Just take one step. You don't have to see the entire road. Just move forward. Too often we think change has to be drastic. We want to fix everything overnight, break every bad habit in an instant, and reach the finish line before we've even started. But the truth is, real transformation doesn't happen all at once. It happens in the small, consistent choices you make every single day. When you wake up tomorrow, don't focus on the 100 things you need to change. Focus on just one. One thought, one action, one small step that moves you forward. Read one more page. Make one better decision. Say one kind word. Do that, and before you know it, you'll look back and realize just how far you've come. It's not about being perfect. It's about being better than you were yesterday, because when you commit to improving yourself 1% every day, you'll wake up one day and see a life completely transformed. Don't wait for someday. Start today. We often get caught up in the idea that change has to be big, dramatic, and immediate. When we want to improve, we set massive goals. Lose 50 pounds, start a successful business, completely change our mindset all at once. We look at where we are and where we want to be, and the gap seems overwhelming. The distance between our present reality and our future dreams appears so vast that we either rush the process or feel discouraged before we even begin. But here's the truth. Lasting change doesn't come from one giant leap. It comes from a series of small, intentional steps taken consistently over time. Every great achievement, every success story, every transformed life started with a single decision to move forward. One step, one improvement, one effort at a time. Think about a tree growing in a forest. It doesn't shoot up overnight. It starts as a tiny seed, barely noticeable. At first, the growth is slow, almost imperceptible, but every day it absorbs a little more sunlight, takes in a little more water, stretches a little taller. Days turn into months, months into years, and before long that small seed has become a towering tree, strong and unshakable. That's the power of steady, incremental progress. Too many people quit because they don't see immediate results. They start working out, but don't see a change in a week, so they give up. They try to build a new habit, but miss a day, so they assume they failed. They expect success to come in a rush, a sudden breakthrough that changes everything in an instant. But true transformation is rarely sudden. It's the product of consistent effort over time. The key to improving your life isn't making drastic changes overnight. It's about making small, sustainable choices every day that move you forward. Imagine if you just got 1% better at something each day. That improvement might seem insignificant in the moment, but over time it compounds. If you improve by just 1% daily, by the end of the year, you won't just be 365% better. You'll be over 37 times better than when you started. That's the power of consistent growth. Consider an athlete training for a marathon. They don't wake up one day and run 26.2 miles. They start small, maybe with just a short jog. Then they increase their distance little by little. All of us need to start small, maybe with just a short jog. Then they increase their distance little by little. Each day they push themselves slightly further than the day before. Over time, their endurance builds, their muscles strengthen, their mindset shifts. Eventually, what once seemed impossible, running a full marathon, becomes not just possible, but natural. The same principle applies to any area of life. If you want to become a better speaker, start by practicing for just 5 minutes a day. If you want to improve your relationships, make one small effort daily. Send a kind message, express gratitude, listen more attentively. If you want to change your mindset, begin by replacing just one negative thought with a positive one each day. These small actions, repeated consistently, lead to profound transformation over time. Many of the world's most successful people built their success on this foundation of small, consistent steps. Thomas Edison didn't invent the light bulb in a single attempt. He conducted thousands of experiments, refining and improving a little at a time. Warren Buffett didn't become one of the world's greatest investors overnight. He studied, learned, and made small, calculated decisions that added up over decades. The problem is that we live in a world obsessed with instant results. We want the success without the process. We see people at the top of their game and assume they got there effortlessly. But what we don't see are the countless small steps they took along the way. Every best-selling author started with a single page. Every thriving entrepreneur started with a single idea. Every master musician started with a single note. If you feel stuck, overwhelmed, or unsure of how to move forward, don't focus on how far you have to go. Focus on what you can do today. One simple step in the right direction. Progress isn't about speed, it's about direction. Even if your steps seem small, as long as you're moving forward, you're growing. And here's the beauty of it. Once you start making small improvements, they become easier. Success builds on success. When you make one healthy choice, you feel good. And that motivates you to make another. When you learn one new thing, it sparks your curiosity, pushing you to learn more. Momentum starts to work in your favor. Think about a snowball rolling down a hill. At first, it's tiny, barely noticeable. But as it keeps rolling, it picks up more snow, gaining size and speed. Before long, it's a powerful force, unstoppable in its movement. That's what happens when you commit to small daily improvements. Your growth may start slow, but over time, it gains momentum, carrying you further than you ever imagined. It's important to be patient with yourself. Progress isn't always linear. Some days you'll feel like you're moving forward effortlessly. Other days it might seem like you're standing still or even taking a step back. But as long as you keep going, you're still growing. One missed day doesn't erase all your progress. One setback doesn't mean you failed. What matters is that you keep showing up, keep trying, keep taking those small steps. If you've been waiting for the perfect moment to start improving, let me tell you, there's no perfect moment. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is right now. Don't wait until you have it all figured out. Don't wait until you feel fully ready. Just start, however small, however imperfect. Look at your life today and ask yourself, what's one thing I can do right now to move forward? It doesn't have to be big, it just has to be something. Maybe it's drinking one extra glass of water. Maybe it's reading for 5 minutes. Maybe it's taking a deep breath and choosing a positive thought instead of a negative one. Whatever it is, do it. Then do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. 1 year from now, 5 years from now, your future self will thank you. Because every step you take today is shaping the person you're becoming. You don't have to make a dramatic change overnight. You just have to commit to being a little better today than you were yesterday. And if you keep doing that, one day you'll look back and realize that those small steps, those tiny, seemingly insignificant choices, created a life beyond anything you ever imagined. It starts now. It starts today. Take that first step. Keep moving forward. Because small steps taken consistently lead to big change. Every day begins with a choice. The moment you open your eyes, before you even set foot on the floor, you are faced with an opportunity to set the tone for the rest of the day. What you do in those first few moments, the mindset you embrace, the decisions you make, all have a lasting impact on how the rest of your day unfolds. For many people, the first moments of the day are spent in a rush. The alarm clock rings, and instead of rising with purpose, they hit snooze. 10 more minutes, then another 10. By the time they finally get up, they are already behind schedule. There's no time to pause, no time to prepare mentally or spiritually for the day ahead. They scramble to get ready, grab whatever they can for breakfast, check their phones, and rush out the door. The day has already started on the wrong foot. Reactive instead of intentional, chaotic instead of controlled. The way you start your morning has a ripple effect on the rest of your day. If you begin in a state of stress and disorder, that feeling follows you. You carry it into your work, into your conversations, into your mindset. But if you begin with purpose, with clarity, with a moment of stillness and focus, you set yourself up for success. You create a foundation of strength that carries you through whatever challenges come your way. It is easy to underestimate the power of small habits, but they shape your entire life. The first thing you do in the morning may seem insignificant, but over time, those habits define your trajectory. If you wake up and immediately fill your mind with negativity, checking social media, reading bad news, dwelling on stress, your thoughts will follow that pattern throughout the day. But if you start by feeding your mind with something positive, something uplifting, it shifts your perspective. Imagine waking up, and instead of reaching for your phone, you take a deep breath and express gratitude. Maybe it's a simple thankfulness for another day of life, for the opportunities ahead, for the people in your life. That single moment of gratitude creates a shift. Instead of focusing on what's wrong, you start to see what's right. Instead of feeling behind, you feel empowered. Instead of dreading the day, you begin with a sense of purpose. What you put into your mind first thing in the morning matters. If you begin with negativity, it will shape your attitude, your emotions, and your decisions. But if you start with something empowering, affirmations, prayer, reading something motivational, setting clear goals, you equip yourself for success. You remind yourself of who you are and what you are capable of. Some of the most successful people in the world have one thing in common. They protect their mornings. They understand that the first moments of the day are sacred. Instead of letting the world dictate their mindset, they take control. They wake up with intention, they practice discipline, they prioritize growth, they set the tone for their day before the day sets the tone for them. There will always be distractions, always be reasons to rush, always be things pulling for your attention. But if you can take even a few moments each morning to focus on what truly matters, to center yourself, to align your thoughts with your goals, to remind yourself of your purpose, you will notice a difference. You will feel more in control, more prepared, more confident. It's not about having a perfect morning routine or following a strict schedule. It's about making a conscious decision each day to start strong. Maybe that means waking up a little earlier to have time for yourself. Maybe it means speaking words of affirmation over your life. Maybe it means praying, reading, or simply sitting in silence before the noise of the day begins. Every morning is a fresh start, a new opportunity to move forward. No matter what happened yesterday, no matter what challenges you faced, you have the power to begin again. The past is behind you. Today is a new day, and you have the choice to approach it with strength and purpose. When you start your day with intention, you create momentum. One good decision leads to another. One positive thought leads to a better attitude. One moment of focus leads to a day of productivity. Instead of drifting through the day, you take charge of it. You become proactive instead of reactive. You move through life with confidence instead of hesitation. Some people go through life feeling like victims of their circumstances. They wake up each day dreading what's ahead, assuming that they have no control over how their day unfolds. But that's not true. You have more power than you realize. You may not control everything that happens to you, but you control how you respond. You control your attitude, your mindset, your focus. If you begin the day with doubt, that doubt will shape your actions. If you start with fear, fear will hold you back. But if you start with confidence, if you start with determination, if you start with faith, then no matter what comes your way, you will be ready for it. You will handle challenges with grace. You will turn obstacles into opportunities. You will see setbacks as setups for something greater. Each morning is an investment in your future. How you start the day determines how you finish it. A strong morning leads to a strong afternoon, which leads to a strong evening, which leads to a strong life. It's the small decisions, the little habits, the quiet moments of focus that make the biggest difference. There will be days when it's tempting to fall back into old patterns, to wake up late, to rush, to start the day in a state of stress. But remember this, every day is a chance to do better. If you've been starting your mornings on autopilot, now is the time to take control. If you've been letting distractions steal your focus, now is the time to reclaim it. It's never too late to change. You don't have to wake up tomorrow and be perfect. Just be intentional. Just take one small step in the right direction. Maybe it's waking up 5 minutes earlier. Maybe it's speaking one positive affirmation. Maybe it's taking a deep breath and setting an intention for the day. Whatever it is, start there. Over time, those small changes will add up. They will become second nature, and before you know it, you'll look back and realize just how far you've come. You'll see how a simple shift in your morning routine transformed not just your days, but your entire life. There's no secret formula, no magic trick to success. It's about the choices you make each day, starting with the moment you wake up. It's about being intentional, being consistent, being committed to growth. So when tomorrow comes, when the sun rises and a new day begins, remember that you have a choice. You can let the day control you, or you can take charge. You can drift through life, or you can step into it with confidence. You can start the day in a rush, or you can start it with purpose. It all begins with a single decision, and that decision starts now. There are days when you feel motivated, full of energy, ready to take on the world. You wake up with excitement, ready to push forward, eager to achieve your goals. On those days, everything feels easy. You don't need to convince yourself to get things done because you already want to do them. But what about the days when you don't feel like it? The days when you're tired, unmotivated, uninspired? What happens when you wake up and the last thing you want to do is take that next step, push through the discomfort, or stay committed to the path you've chosen? This is where most people struggle. They wait for motivation to strike before taking action. They assume they need to feel inspired before they move forward. If they don't feel like working out, they skip the gym. If they don't feel like putting in the effort, they take the day off. If they don't feel motivated, they do nothing, waiting for the right moment to come. But here's the truth. Motivation is fleeting. It's unreliable. Some days you'll have it, some days you won't. If you rely on it, you'll always be inconsistent. And inconsistency is the enemy of progress. If you want to grow, if you want to get better, if you want to see real change in your life, you can't depend on motivation. You must build something stronger, something that doesn't fade when life gets hard, when you're tired, when you're uninspired. This is where discipline comes in. Discipline is what carries you forward when motivation disappears. It's the ability to keep going even when you don't feel like it. It's showing up, putting in the effort, staying committed, regardless of how you feel in the moment. Think about the most successful people in the world. Athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders, artists. They don't reach the top because they feel motivated every single day. They get there because they do what needs to be done no matter what. They wake up and put in the work even when they'd rather rest. They stay focused even when distractions pull at them. They keep pushing even when it's difficult. They understand a simple but powerful truth. Feelings are temporary, but habits last. Motivation is based on emotion, and emotions change. Some days you'll feel great, some days you won't. But discipline isn't about feelings, it's about commitment. It's about making a decision and sticking to it no matter how you feel. Imagine someone training for a marathon. They don't just run on the days they feel good, they run even when their legs are sore, when it's raining, when they'd rather stay in bed. Why? Because they've made a commitment. They understand that if they only trained when they felt like it, they'd never reach the finish line. Now apply that to your own life. What if you only worked on your goals when you were motivated? What if you only took action when everything felt easy? You'd make progress occasionally, but you'd never truly succeed, because success isn't built on occasional effort. It's built on consistent action. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when it's hard, even when you're tired, even when the excitement is gone. It's waking up early to pursue your dreams, even when your bed is warm and comfortable. It's making the healthy choice, even when the unhealthy one is easier. It's showing up, doing the work, keeping the promises you made to yourself. The problem is, many people associate discipline with something negative. They see it as restrictive, as something that takes away their freedom. But the truth is, discipline is the key to freedom. Think about it. When you have discipline with your health, you feel better, you have more energy, you're free from sickness and fatigue. When you have discipline with your finances, you're free from stress and debt. When you have discipline with your work, you're free to create the life you want. Discipline isn't about limiting yourself, it's about setting yourself free. It's about giving yourself the power to take control of your life rather than being controlled by your moods, your impulses, or your circumstances. The good news is, discipline is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. At first, it might feel difficult. Pushing yourself to do something when you don't feel like it is uncomfortable. But the more you practice, the easier it becomes. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't wake up every morning debating whether or not to do it. You don't need motivation to pick up your toothbrush. You just do it because it's part of your routine. That's how discipline works. The more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. Over time, taking action, whether you feel like it or not, becomes automatic. So how do you build discipline? How do you train yourself to keep going even when you're not motivated? First, start small. Don't try to change everything overnight. Pick one habit, one area of your life, and commit to taking action every day, even if it's just 5 minutes, even if it's just a tiny step forward. Do it. Second, remove the decision-making process. The more you think about whether or not you want to do something, the easier it is to talk yourself out of it. Instead, decide in advance. If you're going to work out, don't wake up and ask yourself if you feel like it, just do it. If you're going to write, don't wait for inspiration, just start typing. Third, hold yourself accountable. Tell someone about your goal. Track your progress, set a reminder. Do whatever it takes to keep yourself committed. And finally, remember your why. There will be days when you don't feel like it, days when you want to quit. In those moments, remind yourself why you started. Remind yourself what you're working toward. Keep your vision in front of you. The people who succeed aren't the ones who feel motivated every day. They're the ones who stay disciplined, who keep going, who refuse to let their feelings dictate their actions. So don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Take action now. Make the commitment. Build the habit. Strengthen your discipline. Because at the end of the day, success isn't about how you feel in the moment. It's about what you do consistently, day after day, no matter what. In life, the little things often go unnoticed. The small efforts, the tiny steps forward, the seemingly insignificant choices we make every day, all of these play a much larger role than we realize. Most people believe that success is about making big moves, about drastic changes, about giant leaps forward. But in reality, the foundation of real, lasting success is built on the small, consistent actions we take every single day. Too often, people get discouraged because they don't see immediate results. They put in the effort for a few days, maybe a few weeks, but when they don't see a major transformation, they begin to doubt themselves. They think that if their progress isn't obvious, then it must not be happening at all. But that's not how growth works. Change is often invisible at first. It happens beneath the surface in ways you don't always notice right away. Think about a seed planted in the ground. For days, maybe even weeks, you see nothing happening. You water it, you give it sunlight, you take care of it. But to the outside world, it looks like nothing is changing. But beneath the soil, the seed is beginning to grow. Roots are spreading, strength is building, life is forming. And then one day, the first sprout breaks through the ground. Suddenly, you can see what has been happening all along. This is how growth works in life. The efforts you put in today might not show immediate results, but that doesn't mean they aren't making a difference. Every small action, every step forward, every tiny improvement is adding up. The challenge is to keep going even when you don't see the results yet. Most people underestimate the power of small, consistent effort. They believe that if they're not making giant leaps, then they're not making progress at all. But the truth is, small improvements done consistently over time lead to massive transformation. Think about someone who wants to get in shape. If they work out for a week and don't see any changes, they might feel discouraged. But if they keep going, if they commit to making small improvements every day, eating a little healthier, moving a little more, making slightly better choices, over time, those small changes add up. A year later, they look back and realize they're in the best shape of their life. Not because of one big moment, but because of the daily effort they put in, even when they didn't see immediate results. The same is true for learning a new skill. If someone wants to learn a language, they won't become fluent overnight, but if they practiced for just 10 minutes a day, if they stay consistent a year later, they'll look back and realize how far they've come. They'll see that those small efforts, which once felt insignificant, actually made all the difference. This applies to every area of life: health, relationships, business, personal growth. The small things matter. The little improvements add up. But the key is consistency. Consistency is what separates those who succeed from those who don't. Anyone can put in effort for a day or two. Anyone can start strong. But the real question is, can you keep going? Can you stay committed even when you don't see immediate results? Can you trust the process and keep showing up, knowing that every small effort is moving you forward, even if you can't see it yet? The mistake many people make is looking for quick results. They want to see instant progress, immediate success, but anything worth achieving takes time. There are no shortcuts to real growth. Imagine an ice cube sitting on a table in a cold room. The temperature is at 26 degrees Fahrenheit. You raise it to 27 degrees, nothing happens. You raise it to 28, then 29, then 30, still nothing. You keep going, 31 degrees, 32 degrees, still no visible change. But then at 33 degrees, suddenly the ice begins to melt. Was it just the last degree that made the difference? No, it was all the small increases in temperature before that. Each tiny change mattered, even when it looked like nothing was happening. This is how progress works in life. It might feel like nothing is changing, like your efforts aren't making a difference. But if you stay consistent, if you keep pushing forward, if you trust the process, one day you'll reach that breakthrough moment. And when you do, you'll realize that every small step along the way was necessary to get there. The key is to focus on progress, not perfection. Too many people get caught up in the idea of doing things perfectly. They think that if they can't do everything exactly right, then they might as well not do it at all. But perfection isn't the goal, progress is. It's better to take small steps forward consistently than to try to do everything perfectly and burn out. It's better to improve by just 1% every day than to try to be perfect and give up when it gets hard. Think about a plane flying from one city to another. If the pilot adjusts the course by just a few degrees, the plane will land in a completely different destination. The change is so small that it's barely noticeable in the moment, but over time it makes a huge difference. Your life works the same way. The small choices you make every day, what you eat, what you read, who you spend time with, how you spend your time, all of these are shaping your future. A small change today might not seem like much, but over months and years it can completely transform your life. So the question is, what small steps are you taking today? What small improvements are you making? Are you moving in the right direction, even if the progress is slow? It's easy to get discouraged when you don't see instant results. It's easy to want to give up when it feels like your efforts aren't paying off. But remember this, every great success story is built on a foundation of small, consistent efforts. Every strong tree started as a tiny seed. Every great achievement was once just a simple habit repeated over and over. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't talent, luck, or special abilities. It's consistency. It's the willingness to keep going, even when progress is slow. It's the ability to trust the process, to stay committed, to understand that small actions repeated over time lead to massive results. So don't get discouraged if you don't see change right away. Don't give up just because progress is slow. Keep going, keep pushing forward, keep taking those small steps, knowing that every effort is moving you closer to where you want to be. One day you'll look back and realize just how far you've come. You'll see that the small things, the tiny improvements, the little efforts, the daily commitment were what made all the difference. Success isn't about giant leaps. It's about small, consistent steps in the right direction. And if you keep taking those steps, no matter how small they seem, you'll get to where you want to be. Life is full of distractions. Every day there are countless things pulling at your attention. Social media, television, emails, endless notifications, and the constant noise of the world around you. It's easy to get caught up in everything happening around you and lose focus on what truly matters. But if you want to grow, if you want to improve, if you want to become the best version of yourself, you have to learn to control your focus. You have to be intentional about where you direct your energy, because whatever you focus on expands. Think about a magnifying glass. When sunlight passes through it, normally nothing special happens. But when you focus that sunlight on a single point, it becomes powerful enough to start a fire. The same principle applies to your life. When your energy is scattered in a million different directions, nothing happens. But when you focus, when you direct all your effort toward a specific goal, that's when things begin to change. Most people struggle with this because they spread themselves too thin. They try to do too many things at once. They want to improve their health, their career, their relationships, their mindset, all at the same time. But when you try to focus on everything, you end up focusing on nothing. Real growth happens when you choose to concentrate on what truly matters. When you narrow your focus, when you cut out distractions, when you put your energy into the things that actually move you forward. That's when you start to see real progress. Think about an Olympic athlete. They don't train for 10 different sports at once. They don't divide their time between countless activities. They pick one sport, one goal, and they dedicate themselves fully to it. That focus is what makes them great. The same applies to your life. If you want to improve, if you want to see real results, you have to stop spreading yourself too thin. You have to decide what truly matters and give it your full attention. One of the biggest enemies of focus is distraction. And in today's world, distractions are everywhere. Every time you check your phone, every time you scroll through social media, every time you get pulled into something that doesn't matter, you're losing time and energy that could be used to improve yourself. Most people don't realize how much these small distractions add up. A few minutes here, a few minutes there, might not seem like much, but over time, those wasted moments turn into wasted hours, wasted days. Imagine someone who spends just 30 minutes a day mindlessly scrolling through their phone. That's 3.5 hours a week, 14 hours a month. Over the course of a year, that's over 7 full days, an entire week spent doing nothing productive. Now imagine if that same time was spent improving a skill, working on a goal, learning something new. The difference would be massive. This is why you have to take control of your focus. You have to eliminate distractions. You have to protect your time. Because if you don't, you'll look back one day and realize that you wasted too much of your life on things that didn't matter. One of the best ways to protect your focus is to set clear priorities. You have to decide what's truly important. What are the things that will make the biggest difference in your life? What are the habits, the actions, the commitments that will help you grow? Once you know what matters, you have to structure your life around those things. You have to create an environment that supports your growth. If you want to read more, remove distractions and set aside dedicated reading time. If you want to exercise, make it a non-negotiable part of your routine. If you want to work on a project, block out time where nothing else gets in the way. You also have to learn to say no. Too many people say yes to everything. And as a result, They don't have time for the things that truly matter. Every time you say yes to something unimportant, you're saying no to something important. Saying no isn't always easy. Sometimes it means disappointing people. Sometimes it means stepping away from things that seem fun in the moment. But if you're serious about growth, you have to be willing to protect your time and energy. Think about the most successful people in the world. They don't waste time on things that don't matter. They don't let distractions control them. They are ruthless with their focus. They know that their time and energy are limited, and they make sure to use them wisely. If you want to improve, you have to develop the same mindset. You have to take control of your focus. You have to make sure that your energy is going into the right things. Because where your focus goes, your life follows. Imagine trying to drive a car while constantly looking in different directions. You glance at your phone, you check the rearview mirror too often. You look at the passengers instead of the road. What happens? You lose control, you drift off course, you put yourself at risk. But when you keep your eyes on the road, when you stay focused on where you're going, you drive smoothly, you stay in control, and you reach your destination safely. Life works the same way. If you're constantly distracted, if you're always looking at things that don't matter, you'll drift off course. You'll waste time, you'll lose momentum, and you won't get to where you want to go. But when you keep your focus on the right things, when you stay disciplined, when you commit to continuous improvement, you make progress, you move forward, you get better little by little every single day. One of the most powerful things you can do is create habits that support your focus. Instead of relying on willpower, which fades over time, build systems that keep you on track. Set a schedule, plan your day, decide in advance how you will use your time. Remove distractions before they even become a problem. If you struggle with distractions, put your phone in another room while you work. If you waste time on social media, set limits on how much you can use it. If you constantly get interrupted, create a space where you can focus without distractions. Small changes like these might not seem like a big deal, but over time, they make a huge difference. When you protect your focus, when you make sure that your time and energy are being used wisely, you create momentum, you build discipline, you set yourself up for success. At the end of the day, your life is a reflection of what you focus on. If you focus on negativity, on distractions, on things that don't move you forward, you'll stay stuck. But if you focus on growth, on improvement, on the things that truly matter, you'll continue to move forward. So take control of your focus. Be intentional with your time. Make sure that every day your energy is going into the right things. Because when you do that, when you commit to focusing on the things that truly matter, you will grow. You will improve. You will become the best version of yourself one day at a time. Every day, life presents you with choices. Some are small and seem insignificant, while others feel larger and more impactful. But no matter how big or small, every choice you make shapes the person you are becoming. The direction of your life isn't determined by one single moment, but by the consistent decisions you make day in and day out. Many people look at successful individuals and assume they got there because of one big break, one lucky opportunity, or one major decision. But if you look deeper, you'll find that their success wasn't built in a day. It was built through the daily decisions they made over years of effort. Every day, they chose discipline over comfort. They chose persistence over quitting. They chose to show up and put in the work even when they didn't feel like it. This is true in every area of life. Whether it's improving your health, growing in your career, strengthening your relationships, or developing your mindset, the small daily choices you make add up over time. Think about someone who wants to get in better shape. If they exercise for one day, they won't see any difference. If they eat a healthy meal once, nothing changes. But if they consistently make the choice to move their body, to eat nutritious foods, to take care of themselves, those choices add up. Over weeks and months, they become stronger, healthier, and more energized, not because of one big action, but because of the daily decisions they made along the way. The same principle applies to learning a new skill. If someone wants to learn an instrument, They won't master it overnight, but if they choose to practice for just a few minutes each day, over time they improve. Their fingers get more comfortable on the keys, their ears become more attuned to the sounds, their hands move more smoothly. The daily commitment to small, steady progress is what leads to mastery. Every day you have the opportunity to make choices that push you forward or hold you back. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that today's decisions don't really matter. It's easy to say, I'll start tomorrow, or it's just one time. But the truth is, every choice matters. Think about a ship traveling across the ocean. If the captain changes the course by just 1 degree, the shift is almost unnoticeable at first. But over time, that tiny adjustment leads the ship to a completely different destination. The same is true in life. The small decisions you make today may not seem like a big deal, but over time, they can lead you to an entirely different future. This is why it's so important to be intentional with your choices. Every time you choose to wake up early and work on your goals instead of sleeping in, every time you choose to read a book instead of scrolling on your phone, every time you choose to invest in yourself instead of wasting time, you're shaping your future. It's not always easy. There will be days when you don't feel like making the right choice. There will be moments when it's tempting to take the easy route, to do what's comfortable, to put things off for another day. But growth doesn't come from comfort, it comes from discipline. It comes from consistently making the right choices, even when you don't feel like it. Success isn't about being perfect. You don't have to get it right every single time. But what matters is that you're making more good choices than bad ones. That you're moving in the right direction even if it's slow. That you're choosing to get a little better each day even when it's hard. One of the best ways to ensure you're making the right choices is to have a clear vision of where you want to go. When you know what you're working toward, it becomes easier to make decisions that align with your goals. If you want to be healthier, you'll be more likely to choose nourishing foods. If you want to be more successful, you'll be more likely to invest in learning and personal development. If you want to be a better person, you'll be more likely to act with kindness and integrity. Clarity gives you direction. When you know where you're going, it's easier to stay on track. But without that clarity, it's easy to get lost, to drift through life without purpose, to make choices that don't serve you. Every day, ask yourself, are the choices I'm making leading me closer to the person I want to become? Am I making decisions that will help me grow? Am I choosing progress, even in small ways? If the answer is yes, keep going. Keep making those good choices, even when they feel small. Keep showing up for yourself, even when it's hard. If the answer is no, don't get discouraged. You have the power to make a new choice, to change direction, to start again. Every moment is an opportunity to make a better decision, to take a step in the right direction. No one is perfect. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has moments where they fall short. But what separates those who succeed from those who don't is the willingness to keep choosing improvement day after day. Think about an artist working on a painting. At first, the canvas is blank. Then, with each brush stroke, a picture begins to form. Some strokes might not be perfect. Some colors might not blend exactly as planned. But the artist keeps going. They keep adjusting, refining, improving. And in the end, the masterpiece is created not because of one perfect stroke, but because of the countless small strokes that came together over time. Your life is the same way. You're creating your future with every choice you make. Some choices will be small, almost invisible. Some days will feel like you're not making much progress at all. But if you stay consistent, if you keep making the right choices, over time you'll create something amazing. So don't take today's choices lightly. Don't assume that what you do today doesn't matter, because it does. Every step forward, no matter how small, brings you closer to where you want to be. Keep choosing growth. Keep choosing discipline. Keep choosing to be better than you were yesterday. Because when you look back months or years from now, you'll see that every little choice added up to something incredible. You'll realize that the life you built, the person you became, wasn't created by one big decision, but by the small, consistent choices you made every single day. As we come to the end of this message, I want you to take a moment and reflect on the power of small, consistent improvement. Every day you have a choice to stay the same or to take one step forward. It may not seem like much in the moment, but over time, those small steps add up to something incredible. Life is not about waiting for the perfect opportunity, the right timing, or a sudden breakthrough. It's about making the right choices, focusing on what matters, staying disciplined, and committing to daily progress. Even a 1% improvement every day will lead to transformation beyond what you can imagine. Remember, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just need to be better than you were yesterday. You just need to show up, to be intentional, to keep moving forward. If you stay consistent, if you embrace the process, if you trust that every small effort is shaping your future, one day you will look back and realize just how far you've come. So keep going, keep growing, keep believing that your best days are ahead, because they are.